This meeting is being recorded.
We will start our 1,445th Board of Directors regular meeting. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So please join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and we'll begin with the roll call. Chair Tamani, here. Director Carhart,
Here.
Director Irwin,
Here.
Director Now,
Here.
Vice Chair O'Farrell is absent. Thank you. Item number 4, audience and public comment on non-agenda items. If there's anyone of the public that is here that would like to speak to the non-agenda items, please. Okay, seeing there are none, we'll move to item 5, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 6, consent calendar. Any questions or comments on the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item number 7, we'll move into new business. 7.1 is a receive and file. So no action for this item, but event and activity parking and electric vehicle charging fees.
Thank you, Board. At our last meeting, we discussed the fees for the EV charging station. It seemed as a consensus that you felt that the kilowatt hour fee of was 29 cents was a fair fee. And staff had proposed an idle fee of $2 an hour. Board had discussed a 50 cent to $1 an hour idle, or a minute fee. Now the $2 an hour fee works out to be 0.33 cents per minute. So there's a substantial gap there between what staff had proposed and what some of the board members had discussed. What we're actually looking for here is we're getting this ready for the fee schedule. And so this will be published in the fee schedule. The kilowatt we seem to agree upon, and we'll put a range in there so we have a little bit of flexibility. But it will be in that 29 cents will be within that reasonable range that we can do. And the same with the idle fees, we'll put a range in there. So I just wanted to open that discussion back up. I've shared with you different documents and thoughts and process stuff. I'll go through what I put in my board report now, and then if you want to discuss it further, this probably be very appropriate. I do have some options available to you after some charge point discussions, and also there were some questions from board member about some of the charge point agreements and what that would look like. So I have some information on that as well. So that's the basic background on it. And the idle fee, I believe we've all discussed this at a 15-minute grace period before an idle fee kicks in. And that idle fee is when, once the vehicle is fully charged, if the vehicle stays there, that becomes the idle fee. So I mentioned that staff proposed $2 an hour. And just a comparison of what that would look like. And maybe I'm going to step back a bit. My understanding on the spots, and I could have been completely misinterpreted the intent behind the board, was that those spots, those EV charging spots, would be beneficial to our events, activities, and services in our Arts and Entertainment Center. So when somebody who has an EV car wants to go to one of our events, it would be an incentive for them to come over and charge their vehicle, stay there, go to a show while it's charging, and potentially to go to dinner or something else in the village. The intent behind a lot of our shows, we hope, and our activities is to promote business activity in the business district as well. So coming to the park, going to a show, going to dinner, for an example, would take about 3.5 hours, just an estimation. And so with that in mind, at the 50 cent per minute idle fee, the fee to the consumer, if they stay there without moving their vehicle, would be $58.50. Under the $2 per hour idle fee, or 30.33 cents a minute idle fee, it would be $9.50. And so obviously a substantial difference in what that would look like to the consumer. Now, if it were me and I had an electric vehicle and I went to a show, I would not take a $58 parking fee. I would move my vehicle, which means somewhere, either at dinner or the show, I've got to get up and go find a parking spot. If we're doing our job correctly in the village, that person's going to have a very hard time finding a spot. Well, it's not going to be very easy for them to find a spot. We're already short parking spotted in there. Now, if we don't charge, if the EV charger car driver does not use that spot, they come down with their EV car, they will take another spot. And they can do that. They can do that even without charging. They can take any other spot around the village and there'll be no charge at all. And so more than likely, if it were me, I would look at that. I would go that route and take another spot in the village, where if it was a reasonable fee, I would park in that EV spot and leave a spot open in the village for another consumer or another customer. So that's my take on it. Just wanted to bring that all up and then go through any discussion questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to delineate the difference between EV parking and EV charging. This is not an EV parking spot, it's an EV charging spot, right? You can go into the village on any day of the week, and you're going to count 10 to 15 probably EVs. Just parked there on a random day. I mean, if you look at the percentage of EV ownership in California, it's the highest of anywhere in the nation. So you're going to have those situations. It's also important too is, for people that haven't owned an EV before, like somebody could go and just unplug it and stay there, right? And those idle fees are gone. The only way to charge an idle fee is to have it plugged in.
We can enforce the non-charging.
How?
We would definitely have to have someone there, and that we talked about that last meeting about a tow.
I mean,
A tow sign. So without charging, you do get towed, just like ADA.
Right.
So you would be towed.
So if
Or could be towed. Now,
it's fine to take the spot, but if you take it out and you're parked there, they're towing.
Yeah. So if we see that kind of abuse, of course, we're going to start enforcing.
Yeah, I don't have any questions for Mike, but for the board, I still completely think 50 cents makes sense. It'll take, on average, I mean, I have a Tesla, I have a Model Y. At 30%, if I'm at 30% and I'm in a 220, just like what we are having installed, it's going to take 7+ hours to charge. Which means I would not be charged an idle fee until 7+ hours. And I think if somebody's in our spot for 7+ hours, then they should definitely be getting charged after that. I think it's a real rarity that somebody would be there for 3.5 hours and it be fully charged. And if so, again, then they can move it. Or
Well, it's a good point.
Yeah,
It's a slow charger. It's not a supercharger.
It's a
It's not a fast
supercharger. You're not charged in 30 minutes.
So how many miles, Mike, do ours get an hour? How many miles to charge?
5 miles or 35 miles per hour.
Is it a 6.6, a 9.6, or an 11 kilowatt charger?
Questions. I'd have to go down.
But either way, it's a beyond rarity. And my thing is, I'm here for all of the community who has a vehicle that's electric to be able to use it, not for one person to be able to take advantage of it over somebody else. And also, it was never under my intention for us having an EV in the park was not specifically for events. It was for park users, for people going to our parks and using the parks and using the facility, and having that available to our guests and residents of Fair Oaks when they are visiting the park. And I do think if you're at 3.5 hours, your car's not going to be charged. That would be an extreme rarity. As somebody who's had electric car since 2011, from the base Nissan Leaf to now.
So I'm trying to understand this because I'm not an electric vehicle driver. And I am sympathetic to the idea that somebody that comes to one of our events should not have to move. Now they do have the option of not parking in EV and not charging.
And that's the thing, they have,
So what I'm thinking is maybe the way we've structured this, my mind might be wrong. Maybe there should be a time limit in the space rather than fully charging. Some people are going to go in there and just want to top off.
when you say
And-
top off electrically isn't, I don't think it's the same thing you think.
No, yeah.
If you're
You don't
you
have
top off at a
you don't have
supercharger.
You don't have a full charge, but you want to add to your charge while you're there.
So first of all, 95% of everybody charges because you're getting 6 cents a
That's
kilowatt from SMUD. We're charging 29 cents a kilowatt, right? Nobody's going to come in if they're at 80 or 90% typically and charge at 29 cents because they have plenty of miles to get wherever the heck they, even if they came from San Francisco, they'd have plenty of miles to get back home and
So
charge
why,
6 cents a
why
kilowatt.
then, why then will somebody use our space? They have an electric vehicle?
Because they're gonna be in the village and they just wanna get some charge, like I would right now.
Or it may be that all the other spaces are taken, they have an EV and so this is open, so they park there
It's open for charging.
and they plug in.
Yeah.
You know, just to use the space. What if we took the approach that you have a 3-hour limit in any of these spaces posted right there? If you don't get a full charge, that's your.
I'm not opposed to that, I mean,
What if it's a 3-hour limit after 5 o'clock, something like that, so that we accommodate?
I think that's too hard. I mean, I think you could do a 4-hour limit. 4-hour limit's easy in Walnut Creek. I see that all day is a 4-hour limit. I still think, I mean, either way, even if it were a 4-hour limit, I would still want to, once the car is charged, you are now taking it up for another
Somebody
resident of Fair Oaks, another park user to use it and use that as an amenity, which is.
And I understand that. No, I'm just thinking that, I'm really sensitive to the fact that we want people to be parked there during our events unimpeded. Okay, so 4-hour limit, that's fine. Maybe that's only at certain times. And
So they're
Yeah,
parking
and with the-
route.
within the 4 hours, they can charge, and then when they're charged, we have a maybe more reasonable rate for the remaining minutes. But after whatever it is, 3 or 4 hours, then it's jacked up to a really high rate to get them out of there.
I think
Well, that's
regardless if you're,
basically what this is, 'cause this, the idle is kind of high. Or not higher, but
But
it's
it
higher
starts
than like.
15 minutes after they're done with their charge.
which is a fair thing because you get a notice. When you're done charging, you get a notice. It's not like it's a shock.
Right, but if.
And if you're far away, then are you
But
really
if you're
using
in a
our
plane, you
parks?
gotta, your car's charged, now you gotta get up and go out.
But it wouldn't because you're not gonna be fully charged sooner than 3.5 hours. There's just no physical way. If you're at the fastest at a 40 kilowatt.
When you plug in.
And
I think people know that, like people know people that have those cars would know that if they come in and they have 85% or 90% of their car, that it's not gonna take very long. So that even if they went to go see a play, they would know, oh, well, now I'm gonna be sitting at this spot, and they've been subject to an idle.
And they may well do that just because that space is open and they have an EV. Yeah.
And like they'd be willing to pay $40 to get a good parking spot in the
It's
village.
true. And charge
for the
point-
play.
We'll tell them. It's not like these are hidden.
And
It's
you
not
get a
secretive.
countdown too, like you're watching your car charge on the phone in real time, like by mile,
Yeah.
like you're getting updated. And it would tell you, you're 10 minutes from full charge, you're 5 minutes from full charge, you're at full charge. You got 15 minutes of, to your car.
And the other thought I had, was exploring in my mind is whether courtesy charging would be given to people that are at one of our ticketed events. If that could be done.
I don't.
That would be a nice.
I don't.
We actually can't do
No,
it.
it's,
Rejected it.
You can't even do remember the stores used to give you a reimbursement for parking.
It's like,
But
Yeah, it's something exterior.
I don't.
accommodation, yes.
So what I think is
Right.
Charge Point is, so I went on the Charge Point website just to look and see where they are in our area and nearby. And they tend to be at, I saw one over at like, they have a couple at Mercy San Juan. There's just little apartment complexes at each Charge Point. What's interesting about them is that their pricing is all over the place.
Yeah.
And it says on the website that they are set by, or on, when you click on one of them to see that location, it says it is set by that apartment complex or set by the hospital, right? And so, which I thought was interesting. I didn't realize that. I thought they would be very similar to each other because some of the other EV places or EV companies are very similar, which made me think about how, I don't know how the structure is of the contract, Mike, but like if we did pick something and we decided this isn't working for us, we want to change it, how flexible are they? Can we
Very
go up and down?
5 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
we plug and play.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we,
yeah, we can
so
get
we
it changed.
decide that
We-
our idle fee is too high because we don't want to, because like you said, it is a pain to towing people. And it might be better to try to tweak this or tweak our program.
Yeah. And operationally, again, we'll tonight or currently, I don't have enough information to talk too deeply into operations. We haven't been trained or anything like that yet. But what we do need to do is get this in the fee schedule.
Yeah.
So, because that takes 90 days, 90 days or 60. 30, yeah. So we want to be, ready with a fee, and then we can go through the operational piece as we get more informed on how this all works.
If
How
we
many units
choose,
do we have, Mike?
Was that
We have 2 or 4.
or 7?
Oh,
Seven.
That's
if we choose to reduce the fee, do we
That
have
was
to?
required by the county.
Okay.
If we choose to reduce the fee, do we have to go back out to the public for the fee,
Yeah.
the annual fee thing?
No, we
But it's the opposite. If we choose to
Yes.
decrease the
Yes.
fee, then we have to wait and do the full.
Definitely.
Yes, and that's one of the things I was going to mention.
Okay.
So
50
two things that would
cents is-
inform me on this, my decision would be, what is the going rate to look, to survey the going rate like you did, and pick something that's reasonable. The other is, we're gonna be getting presumably public comment on this when we adopt it. I want to hear what the community has to say. And those are the two things that will important.
Well, I mean, it's, again, we're talking about once your car is fully charged. Yeah. We're not saying, we are not doing an exorbitant cost to charge your car. I think let's be very clear, we are not. But we're doing the same price, if not even better than the best supercharger in Sacramento, Chattanooga, and Tokyo. We are in line with that, if not a little bit less. So I think we are being very, very fair on that. And as I've said, and it is this irrefutable truth of charging times, it is not going to be, even on the smallest battery, it is not going to be less than 3.5 hours to charge. And the statistics of the person that is charging publicly, as Director Mounts said, is not somebody who's going for 10 miles or, 10 whatever. And if they are at 90% going to 100, and if they are, and they want to keep parking there, that is punitive to the other residents who want to charge. And I think it's giving too much preferential treatment to one person, one user versus the.
Right, and I think that's reasonable. I'm just concerned that if somebody does inadvertently get stuck with a $58 bill for parking for an event, that that we're transparent.
It is
Yeah,
fully transparent.
They're gonna watch their feed right
There,
there.
it shows it. It
So as
shows
long as
you
we do
everything.
that, then if they want to pay $60 to park for their evening,
It
that's
is-
fine.
They're
Yeah.
very aware of what's going
Yeah.
on. Where it's not like it's a surprise.
Well, the other thought too is the only other EV charging area, I think in Fair Oaks is at the library. And it is always,
It is,
It is
because
never-
people are just,
that one is actually,
That was pretty.
Free,
but it's so slow, you'd have to leave your car there for 3 days
yeah.
to get it charged up. So
And people probably do
I
that.
imagine that I do see
just
some
way.
cars there that come in really early in the morning and they call me, Sean, it's really these cars.
so,
Yeah.
And I don't want that for our parks. It's
Yeah.
not a good thing.
Yeah.
so is our charging rate adjustable? I mean, do we,
Yes.
Yeah.
can we have a really fast charge or a really slow charge?
Oh, no, that's what I had asked, which it was.
It's fixed, huh?
Sorry, to go back to Raymond James, at your point, or how fast they are, for the one port charger, I think we have one station that only has one port, it's a 40 amp, 240 volt. at our 2 port chargers, if only one is being used, it goes up to 40 amps, 240 volt. If both are being used at the same time, it's 20 amp, 240 volts.
You said 20 amp and what?
240 volts, single phase.
What was the other ampage?
If it's only one port is being used, it goes up to 40 amps.
Some of the stations have, the vast majority of stations have 2.
Yeah, there's only one station.
In Tesla, like if everybody's there, it's going to charge a little slower than if there's just a couple pumps.
Yeah, if both are being used at the same time. It's a little bit slower. They're still.
So to put that into perspective, that would be about 15 to 20 miles an hour for 4.3 or 30 to 40 miles an hour for 8.6.
So while they're charging, we're charging them basically up to 30 cents a minute, right?
Yeah, it's a kilowatt. It's a kilowatt.
But how much power you charge
It's
the
$1.
person that's plugged in?
Right now, just kilowatts the only thing.
Why don't we just
come to agreement on?
So we would be charging them 30 cents.
A kilowatt.
Oh, it's the charge, it's not time.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I want to be able to fully charge that.
why don't we just start at where Tesla, what their idle fee is, which is $1 a minute, and we just go from there. We can always lower it. Like I said, we can't raise it.
And yeah, and like I said, we're looking for a range, and we can put that range in. We want to put a range in the fee schedule. It's very important.
Then I would say 50 cents to $1
Per minute.
per minute. I think starting at 15 minutes. I'll even give the generosity, give it a 10, make it 50.
And we don't have on this agenda for board action. We're just looking for a nod, a consensus. And then when we bring this to the board for the fee approval, you will vote.
Yeah.
at that point. So,
I do think it would be
Right.
helpful to see what other, what other items are, because that was my thought, along with the other board members, that it was low.
Well, Tesla's is $1.
And that's 90% of all chargers in the
community.
world.
That is a lot.
These are community chargers. I'd rather go on the lower end of the scale, but I agree with Linda on that. I want to see what other places in the surrounding community are charging, and so that we,
Well, and we are on the lower
Those three.
scale for charging. Again, these are two really distinct paths. It's not even nuanced. They're very distinct.
No, they're different.
let's see what others are doing. and
Okay.
Maybe you can.
I'm just trying to pull it up. I know I said that out.
For
I'm just looking real quick.
purposes of doing the fee schedule for when we have to have that hearing, if you will, on it. When is that scheduled for? Sometimes I feel like it's the July.
It's usually July or August. I fluctuated too.
But we could put a range of that, right? Okay.
And I'm presuming that would be 24 hours, 24/7. There's no
No, when
difference, it's different times of the day or week or anything.
well, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, the
We
parks
charge kilowatt. We could charge kilowatt by what?
Right.
I would assume so.
Should be this.
Maybe the I.
No, but I mean, I think, well, at least the way I took that question, Dr. Carr, was, are we allowing people to park their car overnight and charge?
Stuff like that, yeah.
I don't think we should. I mean, I think it's similar to dusk unless there's an event.
Yeah, I wasn't
Right.
thinking so much as overnight, but there are certain down times where, or maybe they get a better rate for, for local people that don't have their own station.
Yeah.
I mean,
So what do you
if
think?
we don't want people in our parks,
Shut it off.
Camping.
My understanding of the charge point system from our side would be that we can charge an increased amount after X amount of hours. Let's say 5 hours, 4 hours, whatever it's going to be, and we can charge a higher rate. You have to get on the fee schedule though to do that. What I'm saying for that per hour rate could be substantially higher. Say get out.
Yeah.
Basically, we're telling people get out. And just say it's
well,
Six hours.
that's the whole point of what we're saying.
I know, but this is a true get out here, but your higher item from IOP will do that as well,
I
yeah.
don't do it too.
In other words,
But you'll be.
But I don't know if you need a more, I mean, I don't
No,
want
you don't.
people parking
No,
their car overnight.
And you're absolutely right, you talked me out of that scenario, because that scenario works with the higher item. Yes.
And maybe a sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay,
I rescind that other idea about all
Do we want to talk about, might talk about the VOBAC, as the AT&T lot proposal in here as well?
Yeah, there's a little bit more in there if you're done, and from what I'm gathering, we're 50 cents to $1 a minute.
Yep.
As a range, and then we'll do a range, with our 29 cents basically in the middle, of the range for kilowatt hours, allows us to have some fun.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that discussion, and thank you for all your input. So the VOBAC AT&T parking lot, I met with them on June 12th, to discuss the district's use of spots in the AT&T parking lot for our events, rentals, and activities. The concept idea is that we would tell people that sign up for our programs or buying tickets from us that you can have a reserved spot in the AT&T lot if you'd like. And you can pay, we don't have a fee yet, but let's just say $6, for that reserved spot. And VOBAC would give us X amount of spots in that lot, let's say 25 or 30 spots that we can utilize for this. And we would reserve those through an app like Park Mobile. So the consumer would be the responsible party to go in, reserve a specific parking spot at the AT&T lot, pay the fee to Park Mobile. They'll keep a small percentage, we'll get the rest back. And we will then, under an agreement with VOBAC, that is yet to be determined, pay them X amount, let's just say $1 per parking spot. And we would also potentially take the maintenance of that parking lot over from VOBAC. They do the best job as they can, but they're not in the maintenance business of facilities. And so they do as best as they can, but for standards, it's not really up to our standards. So all of that being said, we weren't close even. And so we're still in the negotiation talking stages on this. And I just want you to be aware we're working on that. We'll be bringing a lot of this back to you as if we get closer. But it is something that I think we'll get to a place where I feel we're comfortable with VOBAC and comfortable that I can bring this to the board and present the fee structures and things like that. So it gives us 30, maybe 40 spots that people can guarantee a parking spot.
I think we should have a wide range though on the fee schedule.
Yeah, we put a quite a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many
Because
spots?
What we just want, what I want in the VOBAC end is and maybe we have to put it in a range too, going, hey, if the parking's $50, you're going to get $5, or maybe we just do a 10% or 5% or something.
well, but if I thought they just said they do it to give it to us at all.
No, that was the first shot across the bow to them from me, saying, is something like this approachable for you? And we weren't close.
Oh, we weren't close. Huh?
Not in my discussion with them.
They didn't like.
They would like to get more money. I completely disagree.
Was there a reason they didn't want to come and say anything tonight?
We're quite a ways away from that place.
So obviously, I would like to.
Yeah, and when we get there, they will be here.
Okay.
But we're so far apart
So-
right now.
so-
it's not realistic.
So
We're not
they're
putting anybody down.
staying in the lot, and is it 40 spaces total in that?
50 some plus.
Okay, their stake in it is to make sure they have those spaces available for their business.
Exactly.
Employees.
Exactly.
A lot of ours is going to be
Visitors.
after hours.
Visitors.
So, and we're proposing that we would assume the total maintenance of that lot then?
Yeah, basically the blowing, getting the brush off, the garbage out. I mean, we're not going to rebuild the lot.
Do we repair the gates? Do we?
That would be something we don't want to negotiate. I don't know that.
Yeah, because if we're doing that much, we should certainly get a good deal on that.
I 100% agree, and that's why we're farther apart than I'm willing to bring to you.
Yeah, and that's a big bonus to them because they don't have people or staff or anybody else going to do that.
Yes. So I'm working with them. I think we'll get there, because they are going to also, probably become a community partner. That community partner has to give something to the district. And obviously the AT&T lot is something that we could actually use.
But also, when we're having an event, there have to be some enforcement, but if you assign for space and somebody's already taken it.
Yeah, there has to be gate control basically there. And that's something we have to look out logistically as well. But yeah, I think if we can get to the fee place that we feel comfortable, we'll start working with logistics. Well,
Thank you for starting the conversation.
but I think it's an important conversation. And anyway, that's the heads up on that. As soon as I get more information, I'll share.
Okay, Unless there's anything else, let's go to our next item, which is 7.2, discussion and possible action on fiscal year 25-26 general fund preliminary budget.
Right, start again. So our fiscal year 25-26 preliminary budget. And then I have the presentation highlights. Did review this with the finance and budget committee last week. We did make their recommended changes. I'll go over. All right, so just to give you an idea of our budget total, it's not on here, but 4.3 billion. But it gets into a bracket of budget, but there's good reasons for it. So we'll start with our expenditures. Salaries and benefits. This year we have increases in most of those categories. We did add a full year of our full-time clerk worker and our new tech supervisor, plus merit increases for staff that are eligible and longevity increases for staff that are eligible. And that gives us a $66,000 increase for our full-time salaries. We did increase our part-time hours as well for our parks and our program areas. Parks is about $12,000. That is to hire an additional regular part-time person to help with the village facilities and our rec hours. Increased about $12,000 as well for programming. And then our center team, obviously, a lot of do for additional part-time hours for new programming, 22,000. That dollar figure does include tech assistant position, which you all last month or month before, which is a minimum wage position that we can only utilize in case we have a program that requires it. So that would really be offset by fees by an equal sort of group in most instances as well. Okay, our group insurance is a 5% increase. We just do that every year. That's health insurance. You don't know that dollar figure until July usually. We always assume it's going to be increased. We do have the 2 additional full-time benefit employees for a full year this year. It's half a year, so that's a $48,000 increase. We are proposing to add $50,000 to our OPEB trust fund. That is the fund that we contribute to when we can to help offset liability that we have for our other benefits, retiree health benefits. And then, of course, we have our increase to our health retirement costs. There's an increase in employer contribution rates, about $11,000 in total, and our unfunded liability payment increased again this year, about $23,000. And then our workers' comp also likely to increase about $12,000. However, that number is usually estimated high, and I know that it's such an amazing track record of not having workers' compensation claims over the last several years that may be lower. And so overall, it is a 10% increase over last year, $266,000 above what we budgeted for last year.
This is before any salary increases. Cost of living.
This includes salary increases for step increases. It does not include a COLA.
What are we thinking might be the San Francisco supplemental rate?
It was at 3.1%. The Employees Association did request a full 3.1%. We will look at that for final budget. We don't have enough information to determine how that will be funded right now.
But if it were added to this, what would be the total salaries?
350,000, 60,000. It's about $50,000.
Percent wise,
Maybe 15%. Instead of 10.
if I recall, we have a number of sources of revenue, but the property tax is one of our biggest ones. And that doesn't have anywhere near that kind of increase this year. So just wondering what we're robbing in order to pay salaries and benefits?
Good question. That's
Yeah.
why we don't have it.
We don't know.
Yeah.
New candidates?
Me.
Do you have any other questions about salaries and benefits? Next, we'll look at our services and supplies. There's also large increases here, which is not surprising because we have a brand new program department that is now fully operational. Some of the larger items that I pulled out are marketing contract with Great Off Media, which we currently have. Extending that into next year. Maybe indefinitely, maybe not. This is best case scenario. All the things that we want to promote, about $70,000 cost. Program costs overall, that includes anything and everything you can get to put on the programming, $402,000 increase. So that's what we like shows, anything, everything. And then a slightly additional cost in printing is one programs for our shows. About 10,000. So for parks, we're reopening all of our parks. There's extra cost to that. So we'll have additional landscape work, about 35,000. Our additional maintenance and utility costs for facilities, 31,000. Janitorial supplies, that is a large increase, both because of the increase in costs and the number of restrooms that we'll be servicing with all of the restrooms at the Maple Park. So that's about $32,000 increase. We have some playground repairs that have been deferred for a while and need to address, so that's an $8,000 increase that we're requesting. And then there's some funds that will be sent to the Dog Ranch versus split, between about $11,000, but that will be recourse by property owners. That's something fun. That's some benefits. And then recreation, slight increase programming cost, it's $20,000, so it's kind of just considering program offerings, and a small increase in their conference costs over last year, as CPR's conference is Southern California, so the travel costs versus last year, Sacramento, so the travel costs. So the total increase, this is a large number, is $642,000, which is a 41% increase over last year. But the bulk of that is programming cost growth.
The 642 is the full amount of expenses, right?
Yeah, that doesn't, this doesn't have that.
41% is the difference between this and last year.
Yes, that's correct.
Where does capital expenditures come into the budget?
We're not, but that's not part of this. We'll get to
Okay.
that. So. But our revenues now, so this is how we pay for everything. Our property tax increase is estimated about 5% again this year. That's similar to last year. And that will continue, that's the consistency. Our assessment districts, 3% escalator for two of them, which is about $41,000 last year. Recreation program revenue, they're anticipating an additional $56,000, what was budgeted last year. AEP program revenue, there is an increase of about $650,000 projected. That is if everything happens and everything is exactly as I think it's going to go, and that may not happen, but if that doesn't happen, costs also occur. Facility rental revenue, about $16,000 over the last year. And our investment earnings have been stayed significantly. So this year I did finally increase them a little bit more than I have been, about $19,000. I think this year we're already at 71,000 or 20,000. So that's a large difference. So total revenue increase is $897,000.
So can you put that into percentage increase too, roughly?
About that.
Maybe greater than 15%.
It is, 14%.
That's good.
14%.
That's good. So we're relying a lot on our programs and our rentals to really open up. So we
Yeah.
really got to market this.
We are,
Good programs, we got to market.
yes.
Those are the key things. That's why we're spending money.
People in their seats.
All right, so also, one of the other fun things about that. Talk about some other sources of funding that are helping to fund what's going on. We are requesting a rollover of the contingency. We didn't use it this year. We're just gonna budget it for next year. 50,000. We're requesting 50,000 in sales sale revenue. That's what we'd like to contribute to the OPEB trust. 20,000, should say 30,000. 30,000 from our fund balance, with district administrative costs. Initially 20, that maybe probably just probably get more, so we're requesting 30. 25,000 out of the fund balance for our grant event. That's probably more than what we're going to need out of the fund balance because we do have some additional revenue spent on allocating. And then $136,000 from our investment fund balances to draw down funds that are still sitting in fund balances that were a third there, and we should support the whole funds. So total other funds, 281,000, and both offset all of our costs.
So if we have an election, that'll come out of the 5, 6, or the 6, 7-year budget,
No, next year.
Next year.
We don't have,
not this budget.
we don't have an election this year. Those costs did increase quite a bit too. Okay, so this is our capital plan. Initially, when I put the budget together, I did not have the capital expenditures in there, but Sean pointed out that some of them are time sensitive, so we need to. These are all allocated out of our general fund balance. So district vehicle, that's for the new facility in Park Worker. And that has been rebudgeted several years in a row. This is really gonna happen this year. We're gonna buy it for $60,000. And then the amphitheater lobby additional furniture that we need to furnish the front area of the amphitheater, 25,000. This decoration for the village, which all the creators to jump on that pretty soon. That's a $33,000 cost approximately. Like we're fixing our carnival games. You'll be seeing our grand opening that probably just this. Yeah, 5,500, and then barrier fencing for events we actually already purchased, so that we come on. So in total, it added it's about $153,500 for those things, minus the 30,000. Okay, so now we have fund balances in all of our accounts. $516,000 in the reserve fund, $782,000 in our carry forward fund, reserve fund balance. Our reassessment districts are at 287, 33,000 and 101,000. Our impact fees are the total savings is 3.9.
So those carried forward funds are what we didn't expend last year, but we don't expect to expend.
Yes. So we are dipping into those this year for both the things that I mentioned, contingency, the district administrator, recruitment, and the grand opening. And then also for the things on the capital plan as well. Okay, so there's a few other considerations as we talked about at the beginning. There's the full request pending $50,000. There have also been other staffing requests for new full-time positions. There was a recreation coordinator position and arts and entertainment coordinator position. Both of those would essentially be replacing right now the regular part-time staff person. So we can both staff so she can be full-time rec coordinator and full-time arts and entertainment coordinator. So it's not a fully new position. But we're not looking at that yet. We're going to wait and see where our revenues are. All see if there's to support it. We'll go there. We'll keep filling in stopgap with our entertainment work until then, and with our facility practice is what the rec coordinator position will cover. That is the end of the presentation. There's some questions. I'm happy to put beautiful spreadsheets. Otherwise, we're just requesting that you adopt the resolutions and the new salary schedule. Oh, Rachel, let's talk about, sorry. The salary schedule includes, the on-call theater tech position, which is the minimum wage position, which just has been added. And then additionally, got a request to change our parks and facilities supervisor position, which is currently an hourly position, to salary. And I explained it to Doug for the reasoning behind that. We just, our park supervisor resigned, so we have recruiting for a new person. And Sean really could use someone that is salaried instead of hourly. Do things like go on the weekends and check things out and answer calls after hours, overtime, and then also be more of an operational manager, while he does more of the administrative work for the department. The cost to the budget is neutral. There's no additional cost this year. However, if we were to hire at step one versus step one of the hourly position, it's about an $8,000 difference. But that's not going to impact us this year. And we don't have to pay overtime, which at the end of the day, really, it might be closer cost to what it is. And that's it. Any questions?
Just to share with our fellow board members, Raymond James and I are on the Budget and Finance Committee, and one of the things that we talked about was usually the committee meets twice a year, like once for preliminary and then the midpoint. But given that both our expenses and our revenue we're very unsure about them, we may need to make bigger adjustments and want to have kind of a closer eye on it this year. So we've opted to meet so we're going to meet 4 times this year.
When is the final budget done? What month?
It's done in August.
August, so we would meet again before August.
Well, we're going to meet in September, and then September, December, March, and June. March and June. In addition to, we don't usually meet between preliminary and final.
Yeah, or we will.
Oh, we will. So we already plan on meeting before August.
And that's going to be permanent or just?
I think just for this year, just to
At least
kind of
for this
this budget year, yeah, just to make sure
Yeah.
that as the revenues, we're hoping that the revenue will come in and match.
Yeah.
Offset the expenses, but just to make sure that we're watching, taking good care.
Yeah, it's very tentative now. We know what we want to do.
Yeah.
We know what we've got. We got the people to push it. So cross your fingers. Yeah.
I'm happy to make a motion.
I will motion to adopt resolution number 061825-01-02-03 and -0.
I will second those.
All in favor?
I
So we'll move to 7.3, discussion and possible action on the bond fund preliminary budget.
Yes, this should be our final bond budget. Possibly, because this is the last of our money and the last of our expenses. So total amount that we are still encumbered for the project is 4.9 million. We have 3.5 million of bond funds in the county right now. We do have some grants that are pending that will be coming in, totaling about 660,000, which leaves us with a $761,000 gap, due to the fact that we did not get the appropriations consent that we were supposed to get. That was 1.4 million. So right now, Mike has been working on reapplying for those funds.
the applications,
Oh, okay.
they're all.
And looking for other sources of funding, but we'll still have to get money for the grant if it's approved or not. And so the recommendation is to use impact fee funds to pay the difference, and then replenish those if and when the grant funds go.
Have we been in touch with Omni Vera's office to see what percentage, what single digit percentage are likely to get that, more next year?
I've been in contact with their staff, Columbia Vera staff, and also Center for the staff. And shift staff at Center for shift staff. And the recommendation from them all was to put the application in for all three. They will sit down and try and work it through to give us the money. So percentage wise, no, I don't have that answer. We are in contact with them and in dialogue. They said this would be the best approach for possibility of success.
Yeah, I'd be curious if this is something that is in the big federal budget or if this is something we have discretionary.
It is discretionary, but it can be rescinded.
Yeah.
And that is what happened for the 2025 funds that we had been awarded. And so it was very clear, made very clear to us that we made certain our applications for 2026 funds state that we were awarded in 2025, but that those funds were rescinded.
And we've submitted that.
And that's been some
More
more or less figures. Yes, and that's completely out of our control at this point.
Unfortunately, we do have a large balance in our impact fund. It still leave us with over $1 million in here. And that's really the only place we can pull from unless you want to pull from reserves and other costs of funding.
So it's a given, we'll finish the project and everybody will be happy.
Yes, it's here.
We just have a smaller bank account for them.
We will.
Little thing.
We'll
Less
look at
than-
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 061825-05.
I'll second.
on paper.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll move to item 7.4, discussion and possible action on the anti-technical levy assessments for fiscal year 25-26 and provide notice of hearing, which will be on July 16th, 2025 for the Fair Oaks Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District, the Phoenix Field Landscape and Lighting Assessment District, and the Dom Ranch Landscape and Lighting Assessment District.
Yes, this is the second step in the process that we use each year to put the assessments on goals for our area. By approving these resolutions and approving the engineer reports that were prepared by SCI, allowing us to then go into our public hearing on July 16th and then fall and we can finalize and assessments can move forward onto the tax goals.
So Jennifer, I was actually trying to read the 109 pages of the SCI report. And on page 12, they list all of our parks and facilities. One thing that kind of buzzed me is that at the end, they have Gum Ranch Park pending, Gum Ranch North, the Swallowway property pending. Is that because carryover last year or something they're not aware of?
They just did not. And I missed that.
Does it matter?
I can have them make that question. Or it's finalized.
I don't have any questions.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 0625-0677.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and our last item for new business is discussion of possible action regarding resolution proclaiming July as Parks and Recreation.
Right, so I don't, for some reason, the link seems to be
Yeah,
broken.
you know, Jennifer, I got those, if you know them,
I
that
have
and the first budget one are popping up the
broken link
broken link, yeah, so.
there. But Ian is here to do a presentation on it.
But he's not being transparent around.
Very good. My name is Ian Roberts. I am one of the admin assistants here at the district. I also sit on the CPRS District 2 board and have been for a number of years now. Basically, real quick, we do this every year, but it's just as a reminder and why we do it. It gives the Park and Rec Society as a whole a chance to get in front of the state legislators and let them remind them that we are here. We know parks are important. That's why we're here. And it gives us that chance to get in front of them and let them know, like, we need funding for certain things and everything. So this is just kind of culmination of all park districts, all cities kind of coming together and reminding the state that we're here and we're important. And it's about to get our books out. And so that's why,
And if I can add,
yes,
it's not just state, it is national.
oh, yes. So CPRS definitely works on the state, but yes, it is national as 100%.
Not seeing the resolution, but knowing that it's highly controversial, I would make the motion that we approve the resolution here, which is 06-1825-09, recognizing July as Parks and Recreation Month.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Ann. All right, board and staff reports. We'll start with items from board of directors. Rob?
Not much I can think of. I've been meaning to call, when we first opened up Gum Ranch Park, I noticed the lawns are dropping out, so I don't know, sprinklers need to be looked at. It's probably been fixed by now.
Yeah, it always struggles at the beginning of the season. That controller had to be replaced again this year. Just, we're still trying to troubleshoot why we're having issues with it on a regular basis, but Rick, our irrigation technician, is on the case and he's monitoring it closely.
Pretty tough grass out there. It should come back. Thought there might be some problem with irrigation. Thank you, Sean. I don't really have anything else to say.
Raymond,
I do.
here.
When are we gonna start seeing sod in the,
I give that my staff update. I'm going to hear that.
I don't, do you have any other? I only have one, a question. You know, we received an email from a resident that was concerned about the trees here at Village Park, and I was wondering if anyone is like,
Yeah, I responded.
oh, you did? Okay,
Yes.
oh, good.
I don't believe I saw that one, but if I
Oh,
say we do have an arborist on site on a weekly basis who's watching it.
Oh,
and
good.
making sure that they're watering enough and watering as needed. He did recommend a herbicide to place on that because we were seeing some problems with pesticide. I apologize because of some of the sticky honeydew we were getting from this around there. So we are monitoring it. They are being watered. We just did a huge tree trimming throughout the area, so that advisement from the arborist to trim some of these up. We made it to every tree in the entire park. And because it's hot, we might see a little bit of a shock from them getting trimmed up and then the hot weather from it too. So
Thank you for taking care of that. I appreciate it.
Once the irrigation system gets in, most of those trees perk up. The one I've been very concerned about is the big valley over the west side of the clubhouse. When we put that road in there, we removed a substantial part of the root system of that tree. So my recommendation, I don't know if the tree people did that, is we do a proportional amount of top placing and thinning to take the workload off the tree. And
that has been completed as well.
good, that's important.
And then that was basically our response to
Oh,
that.
thank you for responding. I must have missed your response, so thank you for doing that. Shall we move to items from staff? Nick, want to go? Sure.
Good evening, board of directors. Nick Davis, the recreation manager. I'll be brief today. Just want to recap. We had our Mississippi Bar Trail Run 2 weeks ago, and implementation went very well. And thank you, Director Tierney and Mouse for participating in the run. It is a run that we keep hoping to grow into more runners each year, so we hope to get there next year. All went very well. Also, we just started our summer camp this week, and happy to say, excluding the 4th of July week, all spots are filled except for 3 spots, which I anticipate probably being full. That's also including our Tiny Turtles program for the youngers, 3 to 5-year-olds. So kudos to Secretary Stokely and County Director Alicia. And then lastly, I guess prior to our next board meeting, we will have the summer concert series kick off. That will be on July 10th. The first one, as previously mentioned, that will start out at Farrell's Park, and then once construction is complete, we're allowed to get back into the village. It will occur at Village Park. So we shoot for the first one to be, I think it's August 14th, if opening goes this way.
To add real quickly to that, the Arts of California did fund those concerts in the park list. So thanks to California State Parks, we absolutely funded this. Thank you.
Sean.
Sure. I probably should comment on one thing, and that is you may have heard during earlier discussions that we had our first supervisor recently resigned, Nathan Martinez. Couldn't be here tonight. He is out there following his dream, moving on to greener pastures. We just want to say as a district that we wish him best in all his future endeavors. We will be opening up that position to outside hires or interior hires as the case may be, moving forward after this meeting. So you should see some new faces coming to you from the Parks Department. I'll bring them in to introduce to you new park worker who will be specialized in the village down here, and a new park supervisor, whoever that may be. Pretty exciting for me and my department after the panic wears off.
At least you should have a functional irrigation system in the village.
For now, we can fix that.
Evening Board of Directors, Judge Schuler, Arts and Entertainment Manager. I only have one quick update for you, but also with summer camp opening this week, we opened our first theater summer camp. We were going to have it here in our new space, but we were able to find new locations that actually Bella Vista is hosting us. So on the 27th and 28th, we'll have performances of Something Rotten by our teen theater group. They've been working hard. They're about 6 hours a day so far for a week and a half now. So should be a really great performance. If you come out, the tickets are for sale online right now. They're only $20, and it all goes to the nonprofit theater company Valkyrie that puts on these youth theater performances. So see y'all there. That's all I got.
The performance itself will be at UV.
It will in their theater multi-purpose room, but it's still a great space.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a good one to be over there, but yeah. I don't.
Yeah, as mentioned, the sod in the park. I want to thank Bobo for their hard work at getting this estimation to me and to work the magic to make this happen. They did come in with a what we believe and what ICS who monitored who will monitor the PCO. We don't have it yet, but who will monitor it, say this price is incredible. And we were paying $60,000 for the installation and the turf to go in versus the hydro seed. And so we will see grass in the band shell portion of the park. That's the only portion that we're going to put the turf in. The rest still will be hydro seed or landscape, depending on where it's at. It's great. We should be able to start sometime here in the next couple of weeks with that piece of it. And as long as the irrigation goes, the rest of the irrigation gets in, we should be good to go. So if they were able to keep it under the amount necessary to bring to the board, I understand the board's temperature on this, that they definitely want the turf to go in. And so we pushed and pushed and pushed. So
thank you.
Congratulations to Bobo. I'm seriously really working this, making this happen. So, and I completely forgot. So it doesn't matter. It's Campington. So I forgot. Thank you. That's all.
Did a walkthrough tour this.
Oh.
I got the email today. Who showed up for that?
No, that's for, I'm sorry, that is for next week.
Oh, next week.
Yeah, I should, let me
afterward.
confirm that. That's with the Historic Society for the clubhouse.
I see.
Yeah. For their event. The one thing I wanted to mention that it did come back to me here is the fact about the budget. I want to thank you as a board, for that your fiscal responsibility has helped us stay as healthy as possible through these trying times. And I'm hoping, all the hard work that you're doing and the staff's doing, that we continue this progress of being fiscally responsible and fiscally. Thank you.
I've got to say, there's been some real noticeable changes there. The new windows have been restuccoed over, the pilasters to the lobby, unity rooms, the tables in the cafe areas, the benches and trash receptacles around the site, and all that irrigation trenching. So
Next week, you'll see the beautiful new floor inside the phones.
yeah, that too, beautiful.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, everyone.
Thank